He grew up in a home with extreme poverty. Without his father present, liming on the block, smoking weed, drinking alcohol, financial difficulties, attempted suicide not once, but 4 times. But today, he's the first in his house to graduate from a tertiary institution. I'm talking to Andre Joseph, and this is Real Life Story. Is one that is really inspiring, and I think the world needs to hear, especially our young men. So Andre, welcome to my channel.
Good to be here.
Yeah, so we met a couple of years ago in youth ministry, but let's go back to before that. Let's talk a little bit about your childhood and how you grew up.
Well, I must say first, my childhood, it was about my father not being there. Even though he was there physically, he wasn't actually there as a father. Mm-hmm. That led to being vulnerable, that led to me not knowing who I am. I grew up in a home sharing a room with multiple persons.
So how long, you said that he was there, but I remember you saying that he left after a certain point. From what age?
He left from the age of 10. From the age of 10.
10 years, so it was just your mother and your other siblings and she had to take care of everybody. Yeah. Tell us. Mm-hmm.
And then that led to me, after he wasn't there, mm-hmm. and that led to me not knowing who I am. That created a void in me. Mm-hmm. And then that void opened up to me going on the streets, mm-hmm. lying with them boys, drinking, smoking weed. And that even partying.
This is when you were...
Like, all the teens.
All the teens, smoking weed, drinking alcohol, partying.
Yes.
And you were going to school.
Yeah, I was going to secondary school at that time. And then, after finishing secondary school, only got in 4 sexy subjects: English, EDPM, art, and PE.
You were not qualified to go to college?
Nope.
So what happened after that?
After that, I went to Glen Learning Center up. It's basically for adults or young adults who didn't finish secondary school or didn't finish well.
So you went to the Adult Learning Center to get your subjects, but there was a period from finishing secondary school and not getting your subjects to Glenn getting into the learning center. Let's talk about that period of your life.
That was the period where, even though I finished secondary school, I got caught up with them boys on the block, and that basically led me astray. I started drinking more, smoking more, started to leave my home all night to go to party. Mm-hmm. And it was just a corpses, and that fueled anger in me, because I wanted to go to college so bad, but I couldn't get in. And that was the first time that I basically lost it and attempted suicide. Mm-hmm. And self-harming cuts all over my left hands. Mm-hmm. And even though I didn't end up in hospital then, some times after, the 3 times after, I ended up in hospital.
So 3 times you were in the hospital, and you didn't think about, okay, like, what would happen next? You didn't care about anything else. So let's talk about, now you in that period you committed suicide, you tried to commit suicide 3 times, or 4 times in total. Let's talk about, what caused you then to kind of wake up and decide, okay, life is worth living.
Well, that was when I met you at youth meeting. That was after the second time I committed suicide. That was like the day after. The same day actually I came out of the hospital. That was when I met my friend at youth meeting. I passed and she invited me. I decided, yeah, I can. And also there was a Friday night. Let's give it a try. And then after I went there and I encountered you, Jenny and the others, it kind of started something in me that maybe life is actually worth living. Maybe that even though I knew about Jesus before, I never knew him. So meeting you and you guys know, it kind of sparked something in me.
So you met other young people who were more or less hungry for Jesus, and it stirred in you, even though you lived your life on the block and smoking and what's not, it stirred in you a desire for him. And not only that, but now you wanted to kind of finish your education. So you went to the Glen Learning Center and you did your 6 again.
Yeah, I did outside actually.
You did outside and you got the subjects and you got into college. But let's talk about the transition from moving to that boy on the block, drinking, smoking, partying, to now trying to live life, wanting God and all of that. How hard was it for you to let go of that old life and decide, okay, hey, let me run after Jesus? What did your friends say?
Well, on Sunday mornings, I went to church. Every time I used to pass it, I always say that, oh, the church boy, I'm playing church boy. And that kind of made me feel condemned myself, because I knew even on some Sundays, I would go to party Saturday night, come home Sunday morning, and then after, like
with these same boys, you pass it. So they're like, oh, you're a hypocrite.
Yeah. And that it was like I was back and forth. So it was like a struggle to be back and
one
forth.
One foot in, kind of one foot out. So let's talk about what led to that change where you dropped everything now and decide, let me run after Jesus and forget about my whole life and not trying to please him, but let me go all in. What led to that?
That change came about when it was like I literally hit a brick wall. It was like, it's either God or nothing, because I got fed up of my whole life. I got fed up of being tossed to and fro, being one foot in, one foot out, being judged by my family, being judged by everybody else around me, and basically I got fed up of me. I got fed up of trying to please everybody, but still, when I'm alone, being condemned, being broken, being hurt, while everybody else don't see the pain, because I'm always out there putting on a face, putting on a happy face, like everything is alright. But nobody saw my heart.
Right.
So that kind of, it was a quiet moment for me where everything else stood still. Where everything was just me, myself, and God. That was when I felt like if my heart just, for a moment, just breathed, and I just let everything before him. And even though after that moment, it wasn't a bed of roses.
Right.
There was still struggles, there was still thoughts coming back, words coming back to my mind, saying I'm not worth it, saying why am I trying? But because I surrounded myself with persons who I know, who wants God, and who I know is desperate for God, persons like you, that kind of create an atmosphere for me to run after him more.
Let me ask you this. What does Jesus mean to you now?
Well, Jesus, to me now, what I can say is just one word. Well, my everything.
To what?
He is my everything, because now it's like I live my life. Well, I do my best to live my life because I'm still human. So I do my best to live my life with him at the top and everything else below. So I try to live every day pleasing unto him. So now it's either it's pleasing Jesus or nothing.
And that's what I love about an encounter with Jesus, that when you truly see him, that it becomes now black and white. There's no in between, there's no gray. You either want all of Jesus or it's nothing. And that is where it's now easier to give up the old life, because it's like the love that I have for this man is more than partying. The love that I have for this man is more than running girls or going on the block or smoking weed. He gives you a love and a passion for him that is greater than your desire for anything else. And you know you don't have to try it, but he gives you that desire, and so you are running after him. So you got your subjects, and you've been accepted. You were accepted to do an associate degree in fine arts, design, and cultural communications at college, and this is where you got to do these beautiful art pieces that speaks volumes. And if you look at them, it looks as if it's a lot of pain. You're seeing men who are silent, and it's like one is you're crying out for help, but there's no sound. So I want you to tell us a little bit about the story behind these pieces, and how you can be used to kind of encourage young men.
Well, for me, these pieces is like art is a way to feel my emotion through, because young men, we don't like to talk much. It's either when we talk, when we get overbearing, or just to brush it off short. So we toughen up, and I use art as a way of my visual communication, a way to depict how I feel, to create my voice. And these pieces can be categorized under one topic, the silent scream. It's like I'm screaming out from the inside, but like nobody is hearing. Nobody is hearing. Nobody is like, because us as young men, we just have this straight face, this straight smile.
Right.
And nobody will expect that deep inside we are broken. Deep inside we are struggling from rejection, self-harm, pain, anger. And art was just like a trial for me. It like that hard work and Christ is like, it just formed like a complete circle for me. It created a way for me to now be me. Even though I'm quiet most of the times, I can use art to express how I feel, how the true Andrew is feeling.
Yeah.
So then it's like I can now use colors, shapes, patterns, strokes, especially like in these. I can now use figures where I can depict how I'm feeling, how other young men is feeling. Because young men, we're not always want to cling to art. They have music,
sports, yeah.
So that it was just like, as I say, a channel for me.
Right. What you said is so true, because a lot of times men, they carry so much on the inside. And I like what you said about that silent scream, that a lot of times men, they have a lot on the inside. They want to scream, but it feels as if the world does not allow you to do that, because you have to be a man, you have to be tough, you have to carry the world on your shoulder. And so our men don't get the help that they need, because they're expected to be men, and we say big man don't cry. And so, letting all of that out is so important, and your life is a living testimony that God can heal and God can transform. And not only did you graduate from college as the first in your house, but you graduated as top performer in your class. And that's the mercy and the grace of God. And it's a testimony of where God can bring you from. It doesn't matter how you start, but it's where God can take you. So I want you to tell us tell me three things that you would tell young men that would encourage them, young men who would watch this. Three things that you think that they should know about living life.
Number one will be, it doesn't matter where you're coming from. once you accept Christ, once you determine in your mind that you're going to run hard after Him, then nothing is impossible. 2, your past does not determine your future or where you're going. And 3, don't let other persons around you depict who you truly become, because it's only you can know you for yourself when you're on Christ.
I like that. Well, Andre, your life, truly, you are a living testimony of what God can do with a life. And guys, a couple of years ago, this conversation would not have been possible because he stuttered so badly. But God has really touched his life. So it's not just his education, but God has touched his entire life. And so young men, his life is, and not only young men, but we're just saying that so our young men would know, but his life truly is a testimony that it doesn't matter where you're coming from. God can change your life. If you give everything to him, he can use you. God wants to love you. God wants to pour his grace upon you. And I believe in this season that God is calling our young men home. Andre, my boy, thank you so much for sharing your story. Real life story. And I know that you will have been blessed. Share this with someone, especially a young man. Subscribe, so I'll share more testimony with you guys along the way of seeing the goodness of God. God wants us to see his goodness in the land of the living. And so God bless you. Thank you for watching, and bye for now.